Hello everyone, in this video we will create a simple basic layout using both CSS Grid and Flexbox. So let's get started. First I will create a new folder on my desktop and let's name it CSS Grid and then Flexbox. And now I will open this folder inside Visual Studio Code. Now let's create new file index.html. And I will also use main.css. Now let's start with the basic template in the HTML. So I will create this simple HTML tag and let's name it CSS Grid Flexbox. And in the body I will create a container class, and in here I will create a division with header class and another division with sidebar class, one more with content, and the last one with I think footer class. Alright, so in header we can say header, here we can say sidebar, and here we can say content, and for this we can say footer. Now let's open it inside the browser. So I can open the live server here. So whenever I change something in here, it will automatically reload the browser. So I will open VS Code and Chrome side by side, and let's close this sidebar. And now let's include our CSS file here. So I will do link, and in href we can say main.css. Alright, now in here we can define all the classes: container, then header, then sidebar, content, and the last one was footer. Alright, now let's start with container. So I will use a background color of 95, A5, A6, and so if I save it, you can see the color here. And then I will choose padding, maybe 10 pixel, and also I want to add HTML and body tag here, and here I will say margin 0 and then padding 0. Alright, so it will move the container to the extreme edges. Now let's give different colors to all the elements inside the container. So actually I will go to a website called, I think, materialui.co, and here I can select the flat UI. If I go here, actually I will resize it, so we can select maybe different colors. So maybe for the header, let's use this one. So I will use background color. So I will paste this one. And for the sidebar, let's use maybe this one. For the content, maybe we will use this one. And for the footer, maybe we can use, let's use maybe this one. Alright. So now if I drag it here and see, you can see the content here. Actually I will add the padding to all of them. So we will use maybe padding 10 pixel here. Alright, so it will look something like that. Now let's convert our container to a grid container. So we will say display property and we will set it to grid. Now if I save it, nothing will happen now, we have to add some additional properties. So let's start with grid template columns. So if I say maybe 1FR, 1FR, and if I save it, you can see we have two column layouts. So this is the first column and then this will be the second column. And if I change it to maybe, let's say 1FR again, so this will be 3 column layout. So fraction is a unit that we use with grid. So if we want, we can say maybe 100 pixel, and then the first one will be 100 pixels, and the second one will be 1 fraction, and the third one will be 1 fraction again. So if I change it back to 1 fraction, so there will be 2 columns. Also we can write it other way. If we use repeat method, we can say I want to repeat 2 times, and I want to repeat 2 times this 1 fraction. So this will be similar to we are adding 1 fraction space 1 fraction. Now we are again getting this 2 column layout. Now with grid template columns, we also have grid template rows. So here you can see if we add 100 pixel, and if I save it, now you can see the first row we have with header and sidebar have height of 100 pixels. So if I add 100 pixels and then maybe 200 pixels, now if I save it, you can see our content and the footer area have height of 200 pixels. For now, what I will do is I will change it to maybe 50 pixels. Alright. And then for the content area, we can say maybe 300 pixels. Alright. Now let's go to our header class, and header is also part of grid, so because it comes under container, so here we can use grid column property, and here we can specify 1 and then slash, so this will be -1. I will explain it. So actually this will do, it will expand our header element to the full width of our page. So how is it working is, if we say this one, that means start, so this is the start, and then -1 means, that means to the extreme end. So that means we are expanding our header element from start to the end. Now if you see the footer at the bottom, we can also use this one. So we can say grid column 1 slash -1. So this will have the similar effect. Now you can see we seem to have 3 rows here, one with header and then sidebar and content, and then with footer. Now what we can do is we can give this 50 pixels, and actually I will change it to maybe view height. So I will give it maybe 5 view height and to the first row, and for the next one we can use 90 view height, and the third row we can say 5 view height again. So I will explain it. You can think of entire document as 100 view height. So we are giving different rows the different view height. So the first one is 5 view height, and then 90, and then 5. So it will combine to 100 view height. Now it will expand across the entire page. So no matter what the size is, it will always take this much height. Alright. Actually what I can do is I can remove this background color now, and maybe we can remove this padding also. Alright, now this looks much better. Now what you can see is our header and footer are looking good, but our sidebar and the content are taking the equal space. So what we can do is we can make our sidebar take very less space than our content. So what we can do is, instead of this 2 column layout here, we can change it to maybe 12. So now this will be our 12 column layout. So header and footer will expand across the entire width of the page. But now the problem is our sidebar and the content are taking this 1 column only. So what we can do is, as we have defined grid column here, we can use it again here. So we can do grid column, and we will start from 1, and then we will end at 2. So if I save it, that will be more clear if I change it to maybe 5. So if I save it, you can see it is taking 5 columns here. So if I change to 2, so it is taking 2 columns only. Now for the content we can say grid column, and then starting from 2, and then we will say -1. So this will expand till the end. Alright, so this is how we can use CSS Grid to structure our HTML layout. So now what we can do is we can use a Flexbox. Let's create a new menu items inside our header. So let's create 3 different items. So first one will be maybe app logo. So let's say my app, and then next we can create a logout item, and we can also create maybe home item. So let's say home. Actually let's create another one, so maybe search here. So if I save it, you can see all the elements are stacked top to bottom. So now what we can do is, in the main.css, in the header we can create a new display property, and then we can set it to flex. So if I save it, you can see all the items are now stacked left to right. Now let's say we want to move our logout item to the right. So what we can do is we can select our logout class, and then here we can set our margin left to auto. So this will move our logout item to the right. Now what if we want to move both search and logout to the right? So in case of that, we can target our search class. So if we say that, then it will move our both search and logout to the right. Now let's see some other Flexbox properties. So I will comment this search class for now, and then here in the display flex, so we can specify flex direction. So if I say row, it won't change anything because this is the default one. So if I change it to column, you can see again these items are stacked top to bottom. So I will keep it to row for now, and then if our flex direction is row, then our main axis will be from left to right. So we can specify justify content, and we can say maybe center. So if I save it, now it will center all the elements. Justify content has other properties. So if we do flex start, so this will stack the items on the left. So this was the default one, and we have flex end, so it will keep the items at the end, and then we have space around. So this will be like on the left and right we have the space, and then in between space will be double to the left and the right space of the maybe entire element, and then we have space between. So this will be the same space between all the elements, and then last one is space evenly. Now this will be space on the left and the right of the header element, and then in between this will be the same space. What else actually we can do is we can make the sidebar slightly bigger. So what we can do is, so here instead of 2 columns we will use 4. So we will start our content from 4. Now this looks much better. So if I expand my browser, you can see this is how my layout looks like with using only CSS Grid and then the Flexbox.